Have you ever considered that the way you do one thing is the way you do everything? I want to talk to you a little bit about the patterns that we all have inside of our systems, inside of our lives, and it's how we repeat things over and over and over again. And a lot of this is done at an unconscious level. Something that's interesting to consider is that when you think about the things that you do on a daily basis, 90 to 95% of that is run by your unconscious mind. And so when it comes to these patterns, we're not consciously waking up and thinking, oh, I'm going to do the same thing I did yesterday. Sometimes we are when it comes to the things you're eating or the exercise plan or the other routines that you have. But what I'm talking more about now is the patterns that can help us move forward and also the patterns that can keep us stuck. And so I wanted to share, I had an experience, like even as an NLP practitioner, as someone who helps people unlock the patterns that they've been living in, unlock the things that are keeping them in a stuck place. I have my own stuff too. And so I'm constantly working with a coach and a practitioner to help figure out what's going on with me and where I'm holding myself back as well. And so the experience that I had yesterday working with a practitioner, and we uncovered an interesting one for me. We uncovered guilt. And to think back, I mean, now I can look back and see lots of different examples where this was a case, but this is not something I'd even considered before I had this coaching call with this gentleman. And so we went through just kind of unpacking some of the emotions and feelings. There was sadness, there was loneliness. I'm an only child, and so there were times in my life where I just felt alone. And I would create situations, looking back now, I can see where I'd feel guilty because from that place, I knew how to handle that. And so when this came up yesterday, or where it came up for me today, actually, is probably the more interesting part. Yes, I went through this coaching call with this coach yesterday, and this is often something that I hear from clients too. After the fact, you can start looking back and you can start seeing where are all the places in my life where I've done this same pattern and it's resulted in the same challenge, the same struggle. And this is where I love using the mindset work, the hypnosis, the neurolinguistic programming. Ultimately, if we were all walking around today with flip phones, trying to do everything that these incredible smartphones do now, we'd be in a stuck spot because we're trying to operate at a very high level with an outdated operating system. And so when it comes to patterns, this can be connected to health as well, but when I'm talking about guilt, so today I had the realization something happened yesterday in my life. It was in relationships is often where we'll see these patterns. This could be relationships with your spouse, with your children, with other family members, with your colleagues, with all kinds of different people. And what happened yesterday, I created a situation where I ended up feeling guilty, and then when I feel guilty, I know how to respond to that. So if you look back at the recent any recent kind of conflict that you've had in your life, and you can look back and see, okay, so how did I handle that? How did I get myself out of that discomfort feeling? And sometimes we'll put ourselves into a discomfort that we're familiar with to avoid a discomfort that's not familiar. So I could have approached things yesterday differently. And that's the way I'm trying to, or I'm learning to look at things now. It's like, okay, so I know I feel, it doesn't feel good to be in guilt, but at the same time, it's comfortable for me because I've been there many times in my life. So if something stressful is coming up, how are you coping with that stress? Some people will put themselves in a place of fear. Some people will go to anger. Some people will go to sadness. Some people go to guilt. Some people go to victim, which is something that I often see show up with autoimmune clients. This was me in the past. So there's absolutely no blame at all if this is your tendency is to go towards the victim, go towards the kind of woe is me persona here because it's a way of coping. It's a strategy of self-protection. And so for me, going to the guilt, yeah, it feels crappy, but it's the devil you know. Does that make sense? It's somewhere that I know that I can get myself out of because I've done it multiple times in the past. And so this was just kind of an interesting realization this morning. But as I said, this is something that I often see with clients around health, where it's like continuing to do the same thing over and over and over again, and then wondering why autoimmune is coming up or wondering why other health challenges are coming up. And it's like, okay, how can we learn to respond to things in a different way that's more useful, that helps us move towards what we actually want? Because when you're in a stress state, people will often respond in one of four ways, which is the blamer, blaming others, or blaming self, which is the pleaser, the placater. This is often a connection with autoimmune. People who are like, no, 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 I need to put everyone else's needs before my own. And it's not conscious. We do this at an unconscious level, but I see this very frequently with autoimmune. We also have the computer. This is the over analytical person who's like, if I were to analyze this, I would find. And then the last person is the distractor. And how often do you get in a place if you look back in challenges in your life and how do you respond to that? There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a really good awareness to have, because when you can see the pattern, you can see the way that you're behaving, you can change it. And ultimately, change is what helps us move in new directions. Change is what helps us get things we haven't been able to get in the past. Looking back when I was diagnosed with MS, it's a great example because I have multiple demonstrations of this kind of behavior. First diagnosed, I went into blame. I blamed God, I blamed the universe, I blamed my family, I blamed medicine. I was angry. Blame, 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 blame. That's where I sat when I was first diagnosed. And then I had a time where I blamed myself. I thought, I'm not getting better because I'm not patienting good enough. I'm not doing a good enough job of following my doctor's instructions. So blame turned from outside to inside for a while there. I went through a period of my life as well where I was a pleaser. Very much, what can I do? What do you need? I'll do it for you. I'm here for you. Whatever you need, it's yours. I was very much focused on serving and helping other people and not helping myself. The computer, a little bit. I did a lot of reading, a lot of researching, a lot of, okay, medicine's not working for me. I need to find something else. And so got into a lot of research mode there. And then when the stress got too much and all of those other methods weren't helping, I distract. These things are a great way to distract yourself, but there's lots of other things as well, because this was like pre-smartphone when I was diagnosed, and 2011 was when I started making changes for myself. But understanding what's going on with you and understanding kind of where the patterns have been gives you the ability to change it. And I work with people who are looking to change, people who are looking for different circumstances and are ready to step out of the effect side of cause and effect. Because basically, there's two parts to what's going on in your life. If you look at your situation, this could be relationships, this could be your health, this could be your finances. Anything that there's challenge in your life, we can look at it as the effect. I'm in the effect of this. It's everyone else's fault. Why is this happening to me? I drew the short end of the stick. I went through that for years with MS. And honestly, when I continued to sit there, nothing good happened. Nothing good changed. Positive changes didn't come from that place. It's when I decided to get out of the effect side and into the cause. How have I contributed to this? And it's not a matter of blaming self for what's going on. It's not a matter of blaming anyone really for the circumstances that you're in. It's a matter of saying, what can I do to make a difference? How can I change this? What actions can I take? What things can I start doing? What things can I stop doing? What do I need to let go of? There's a lot of change that can happen. Some are easy, some are not. I get that. But when we're just kind of choosing to stay in the same position, the only one that can change is inside. The only one that can change is you. For 7 years, I thought that medicine was going to be the answer for my health. I grew up in a family that said, if there's something wrong with you, go to your doctor and your doctor will have the solution. And so I did that. And I took the medication and then more medication and more medication and more medication. I just kept getting sicker and sicker and sicker until eventually I got to the point where I was like, I don't know if this is working. So I started raising money for the MS Society. Both of these are outside of myself. Medicine, the MS Society. Both are external. Both are things outside of myself. When I was looking for things outside of myself to come and fix me, I was still living in effect. I was still living in, why is this happening to me? And it wasn't until I started to say, okay, if change is going to happen, it's got to be now and it's got to be me. And that's what let me go from, effect to cause. I went from waiting for something outside of myself to come and save me to taking responsibility. I started looking at, what are the things that I'm eating? Who are the people that I'm surrounding myself with? What are the things I'm consuming in my eye through my eyes, through my ears? What's the energy that I'm taking on? What are the things that I've been doing that have not been helping me? And what are changes I can start making today to help myself move towards a place of health? I was diagnosed 20 years ago, March of 2005. Lived on the medication until 2016, so multiple years there. And I've now been symptom free without meds for 9 years. And I'm not lucky. It's not a miracle. I found new opportunities when I started to question the beliefs that I had in the past. If I had stayed on the narrow focus that medicine is the only answer, medicine is the only thing that you can do, I'm not even sure that I would be here today. When I came off the medication or at the end of my journey of the Western medicine side of things, I was in a pretty crappy place. I couldn't walk without assistance. I couldn't speak properly. My thoughts still were great in my mind, but came out of my mouth like a garbled mess, which was stressful, which was frustrating. I isolated because I was embarrassed. I was worried about what people were gonna think of me when I didn't sound smart because I couldn't speak properly. I had nerve pain 24/7, like, all kinds of different challenges kept coming up, and when I started to look for, "Okay, what are the things that I can do?" That's what started moving me in the direction that I wanted. The 7 years of taking medication, the 7 years of feeling I just need to patient better, I just need to follow my doctor's instructions more strategically or more effectively, didn't help me move towards where I wanted to go. When I started taking a look at how can I participate? What can I do to help things move in the direction that I want to? Just because there's no cure doesn't mean you can't get healthy. Just because there's no cure doesn't mean you can't get healthy. And that was what I started to focus on. What can I do to start helping my body get back to a place of health? Because the human body, these bodies are brilliant. They're designed to self-heal, they're designed to heal themselves. And so if that's not happening, what's getting in the way or what's missing? 2 important questions to ask, and sure, some of them it's gonna be physical, some of them it's gonna be what are you putting on your plate, some of it's gonna be what are you absorbing energetically, and some of it's gonna be in your unconscious mind. The unconscious mind's main goal is to keep us alive and keep us safe. So like I shared at the beginning about the guilt, my unconscious mind is like, "Well, we did this before and you woke up the next day. So we're in a stressful situation again. So let's put yourself into a place of feeling guilty because you know how to handle that. So you'll wake up tomorrow, so that's fine." It's not a comfortable place to be, but this is all about trying to make sure that you wake up tomorrow. So if we can start getting the unconscious mind to work towards getting us healthy as well, it's amazing what can happen for you. I have like dozens and dozens of people on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube now, just saying to themselves every day I'm getting healthier and healthier. Every day I'm getting healthier and healthier. And like the testimonials, the DMs that I get on a daily basis with people saying, "Oh, the wobbliness I used to have in my legs is no longer a problem. I'm not needing to take naps in the afternoon anymore. I have more mental clarity. I'm able to focus better. I'm doing better at work." All of these things start to happen when you give the unconscious mind something to focus on that's more positive. Going through years of life and focusing on, like, being diagnosed with MS sucks. MS sucks. These symptoms suck. I hope I don't get more symptoms. I'm concerned, like, what's future gonna look like? What's 5 years gonna look like? What's 10 years gonna look like? How am I gonna feel? And staying in that position, the mind's like, "Oh, she's focused on MS. Okay, let's give her some symptoms. Oh, another symptom. Oh, another symptom. Oh, okay, because she keeps thinking about this." What we focus on most, the unconscious mind shows us evidence of. If you've ever looked for a car, I'm sure you have seen this in real life. I'm sure you've experienced this. You're focusing on a car, all of a sudden that's all you see around you. I always use the example of the Nissan Rogue. You're looking for a Nissan Rogue, now that's all you see on the road. Ford didn't stop making pickup trucks. People didn't give away their Honda Civics. These cars are still there, but you're just seeing what you're focusing on. So start focusing more on what you want. And then don't be surprised or be surprised, whatever. But really cool things show up for you when you start giving your mind positive things to start looking for and show you evidence of. So initially, I started this, I was talking about how, yes, we often repeat patterns in our lives and we repeat old things that were crappy. But just because it was crappy in the past, if you survived it, the unconscious is like, okay, I can handle that. So then a stress comes up, a new situation presents itself, and you may find yourself looping back to old patterns. The experience or the example that I gave earlier was that guilt for me is something that I've experienced many times in my life. And so when stress comes up, a stressful situation comes up, I don't consciously do it, but we unconsciously put ourselves into a place of, for me, I put myself into guilt when there's stress because I know how to handle that. I know I can get out of it. And so, how can that shift to start moving towards responding to things in a different way so that this pattern, this loop, doesn't just keep looping over and over again? That's where we use tools. Strategies is a tool that I do with clients just to show that every single thing that you do, there's like steps leading up to it that's often exactly the same. If you think of a smoker will often have the same series of steps that lead to going and lighting a cigarette. Quitting smoking, when a client comes to me looking to quit smoking, typically in one session, they have quit. That's because we can break down what are the patterns that lead up to it and how can you interrupt it. Because when you interrupt the pattern, which is what I'm working on doing now with this guilt thing that I've been doing for I'm 43 years old. So I have multiple years of practice of doing this. But now I'm working on a strategy or a change in strategy to be able to interrupt this guilt pattern so I can start responding to things in a different way. When you change the way you respond to things, things around you change. Relationships can change, your work situation can change, family stuff can change, finances can change, your health can change. Lots of different things can change when you can start to recognize where are the patterns that are keeping you stuck in this place. So, if this is something that you're interested in, this was kind of a rambly live, but we all run on patterns. And so if you're finding that you're frustrated or you're feeling stuck somewhere and things aren't moving in the direction that you want to, it may be as simple as figuring out what's the strategy that you keep playing on repeat over and over and over again that just needs a slight shift so that you start responding in a different way. And then it's pretty cool what happens. I had a client that I talked to yesterday, had a relationship issue that she's been carrying around for a couple of years now. Couldn't sleep well because of it, had a lot of stress in her life because of it. And we went back, and when you can detach emotion from old events, that's often part of what allows us to move forward in a different way as well. And it's like, how is it benefiting you to hold on to that emotional charge from the old thing? Often it's not. When you can detach that emotion, you can function differently. You can operate in a different way in the future, and different things will come up for you. So, if you're someone who is feeling stuck, if you're feeling like the same pattern keeps repeating itself over and over again, or you're just frustrated because you can't get to the results that you want, I will drop the link to book a free call with me in the comments for this live. Make sure you book a call. Like it's 30 to 45-minute call. And my goal is to help you experience something different in these calls. It's not just about me. It's not about me. The calls are about you. I want to give you an experience that you can start to realize, holy crap, more is possible, different is possible, and I can be part of it. So, my name is Kate McDowell. I don't think I mentioned that earlier. My business is aligned to natural health, and I love helping people unpack the crap that's been keeping them stuck so they can start moving towards the life that they really want and really deserve. So, hopefully, you'll click the link in the bio or in the comments and book a call with me. If not, I'm sure I'll be back soon. And